We purposely built this front wall with these two panels. So when the concrete truck comes and they bring the chutes in, they can just bring the chutes right in and it should be a very easy placement.
Down about an 8/16. Dead on. Getting ready to weld the pins into the rebar that's down at the bottom of the footer. Concrete without steel in it is fairly weak, especially in a seismic activity such as an earthquake, or in what in engineering terms is called a moment. And a moment is when something shifts. Say in a hurricane, there's shear wall forces coming down. So you can pour a lot of concrete, but it's fairly brittle, super hard but brittle. The steel creates the tensile strength, the strength through the system. So you have to have both. Now as far as compressions, concrete's great. Strength, you gotta have the steel. So I always weld my dowel pins in. The dowel pins are a piece of angle iron, you'll see that in a minute. Piece of rebar that we have bent, and it's got about a 14-inch base up through about a 6-foot pin going straight up that'll come out of the concrete through the block, and then that goes into a bond beam which ties into the wall. All solid concrete with steel inside. So we're going to weld all this together so we don't have any movement. When they come to do the termite spraying, nothing gets moved, then we place the concrete. So well, I guess many years ago, welding has come into play again. I took several years of welding way back when, the old days. And then actually one of my first big jobs after I got out of high school was Honda motorcycle factory. And wasn't planning on making a career out of it. It was a great job for money and those type of things, but I wanted to make enough money to go out. I didn't want to work in a factory the rest of my life. So I stayed there for a little over half a year. If you had a motorcycle, a V45 Magnum or Aspencade from 1983 at the end of the year, I probably welded the head frame. So if there's any flaws, I don't think there are any flaws. There was good. Anyway, those talents come back into play later on for building. So we're welding all this apparatus together, so when the concrete comes and it's placed, we don't have to worry about placement at that point, because concrete you don't want it to, but it can get out of hand quickly. You want to make sure everything's done properly, all the prep work, prior to the truck showing up. So what's going on? Got some news that isn't so great. If you've noticed, there's some blood every once in a while on my face. That's they found out that that's cancer, and so they're going to have to do some extensive surgery and reconstructive surgery. That's bad news for the building because I can't be in here. So we're really pushed back against time right now for getting this enclosed because I can't be in dust. And the best case scenario is going to be about a couple of weeks. The worst case scenario is a couple months, depending on if they have to do 5 or 6 surgeries and reconstruction. So really concerned about the work, wanting to get this done because we got things coming for this building. And that was my first question. And the nurse that called me said, well, that's a strange question. Usually people are always, you know, oh, how bad is it, and this and that. It's like we don't get heard. We don't hear too much, hey, when can I get back to work? But that's exactly my first thoughts. I'm not going to be able to be in a dusty environment because it's all going to get laid open, I guess. And got to finish the building. So we're double timing it. This is Sunday. We were over here last night till midnight and doing 7 days a week, 12, 13 hours a day to try to make sure that this gets enclosed before that date happens. Also trying to find a few people that can possibly try to help. I want to get as much done as possible to make that happen. On this forefront, we'll see what happens. You know, they never know till they get in. I'll take you through the process if you want of what's happening on that front in case you ever have something like this. But this thing kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding and bleeding, and it would scab up and then cover up right here. And there was one here, and the least little thing, like you take a shower and you wipe yourself with a towel, it should start bleeding again. Especially if you're out in extreme sun or doing extreme things like I do. If you have something like that's going on, go to a dermatologist, not just your GP. Go to the dermatologist. My GP froze this thing while it was bleeding, and it kind of upset the dermatologist because I went in later and he goes, well, I told him, I said, he just froze it. And I wasn't real hip about it, but he went and he froze it, and they couldn't test it for months after because the scab was still there, kept bleeding. And when they went and sent it away, sure enough, they called immediately back from the lab and said, yes, that's what it is. So, got to go to Charleston to MUSC. From what I've read, I haven't met the guy. He's a great doctor. He's got over 5,000 reviews and like 4,990 some of them are good, great reviews. So that's a blessing to get that kind of specialist. You know, whatever we do in life, always make sure you do it to the best of your ability. So hopefully everything gets back on track very quick and we get back to work and finishing this off. But right now, we've got a lot of work ahead of us of putting this concrete into the ground, getting the block laid, and we actually have a door company come to put the door in. The door is in. It made it to Myrtle Beach, so which is rare in these times because everything keeps getting backed up by months. And we will be hurricane tight back here at least. Let's get back to welding and get this thing done so I can get home and eat, get to bed, get back up and do it again. Give her a little shot, see what it looks like. It's been 28 days, so ready to remove the forms. I'm still going to leave the support underneath this one. This is a pretty big beam. We were supposed to use 4,000 PSI. We used 5,000 PSI. So it's a very strong beam across here. Weighs about 4,000 pounds. These are called wales. So we've got to remove the wales off the sides. We'll leave the support underneath. Got to remove this side piece so we can use the string to continue to lay block. I got one more course going above, and that'll be a bond beam that gets filled. Of course, all these blocks are filled with concrete and steel and everything else. But I need the strings. I need the strings to make sure that the block are laid right. So I got to take all this apparatus off. So we're going to peel the side off and then lay some more block. We'll see it. I've taken all the fasteners out of the side form where the wales were and all that, so we're going to pull that off. As mentioned before, I'm going to leave the supports underneath. I just believe in going a little above and beyond whatever's directed, just to make sure we don't want an issue. Sometimes these stick on there, although we did put a little bit of Dawn dish liquid as a release agent, but it's been up for a month, so. And we use some really strong concrete. Okay. All right. This is kind of like a man reveal or something like that. That's pretty. Very pretty. Oh. Beautiful. That is beautiful. Super strong.